Today we're going to be talking about how to set up a palette and how to take care of your paintbrush. Taking care of a paintbrush is really important. I want all the hairs to go straight up. I can help the hairs go straight up by pushing them that direction. I'm welcome to squeeze them. I can even rock them back and forth. Making sure they're a little bit wet while I'm doing this will help. All right, I'm going to get some paint on my palette now. I like to start with the lightest color, which is white, and then I'm going to use my paintbrush like a shovel to scoop the paint out and place it in the cup, wiping my brush on the side to get the most out of my brush. Okay, now that I have a good amount of white paint, I learned something very interesting recently about cleaning brushes. I learned that if we just pour the paint down the drain, it could clog up the waterways and turn into plastics that end up in the ocean. And I definitely don't want that. So I learned that you can wipe your paintbrush on a paper towel first before putting it in the water, getting even less paint in the water. And after you use the paper towel a few times, you can just put that in the trash can. So I'm going to wipe my paintbrush, wiggle it back and forth to get as much paint out of it as I can, and then dip it in the water. You can see there's definitely some paint still on my paintbrush, but definitely not as much. There's two benefits to this. Less paint goes down the drain, but also your paint water will get dirty slower, which is always a good thing. Okay, here's the paper towel routine. Place your paintbrush in the paper towel, wiggle it back and forth, and then pull it out. You might want to do that twice. You're probably going to get some messy fingers. That's okay. If your fingers start getting dirty, it might be time for a new paper towel. And then you can put it in the water. Oops, I forgot to do that there. But luckily I got most of the paint out and it's a-okay. I do make a lot of mistakes this video with not cleaning my brush properly because I just learned this paper towel tip. Paper towel wiggle, water, sponge, and then I can get my next color. Ooh, there's a lot of paint still in that one. Maybe I'll give it a little more water. Okay, that's better. All right, now to get my last color on my palette. As you can see, I picked up all of the colors before even starting to mix because I'm going to do all the mixing on my plate. That will keep all the rest of the paints clean for other people. Okay, time to mix some colors. So I gave you the primary colors plus black and white, meaning that I need to mix all the other colors that I need. I separated them each so that there's one spot between each one. That's particularly important for the primary colors because I like to make the color that goes in between them in the spot in between. I needed more paper towels. Okay, now that I have all my primary colors, I can mix my secondary colors. So I definitely want to clean my brush and try to keep my palette as clean as possible. So I wiped that yellow off before I went and picked up the red and mixed orange. Red and yellow makes orange. This is my palette, so I can add more yellow if I don't think it looks orange enough, which I think I might do, or I can leave it like that. Okay, I'm going to continue making my way around the plate, making my other colors so that I have everything set up before I paint. So now I'm going to make some purple. Red plus blue equals purple. I had to mess around with the purple a few times until I found one I actually liked. I added more and more red and eventually white to the middle area to make the perfect purple. Okay, and I have one more secondary color to make. I need to make green. Green is made by mixing yellow and blue. Make sure you have a lot more yellow than blue. And I also wanted to go over how to make gray. I could make that on the side here by mixing a little tiny bit of black and some white together. The last thing I didn't do, but you might want to know, is pink is red plus white. You might want to put that in the last spot there. When using a paintbrush, make sure the paintbrush strokes go back and forth and the hairs gently bend. Do not push straight down. That will end up hurting the hairs of the brush. Just wipe from side to side, always caring for the hairs. Your job as a painter is to take care of your materials, and the hairs of a paintbrush are the most fragile. You can turn the brush different directions to make different types of marks, but don't smush the hairs down. Let's switch our focus on how to clean the palette now that we don't want to just rinse it all down the drain. So you might need a couple paper towels, but you're going to try to wipe all the big parts that are filled with paint out with the paper towel. This is going to look like you're making more of a mess before it gets better. Look how messy that is. Time to put it in the trash. Get more of the brown paper towels as you need them and continue to wipe out the little areas, getting the big areas of paint on the paper towel and not on the palette. After wiping with the paper towel, put your plate low in the sink, not high, so it doesn't splash, and wipe the palette with the sponge, getting the rest of the paint off of the palette. It should go pretty quick now that the paper towel has done most of the work. Don't forget to clean your water bowl and your paintbrush. Push the hairs up on the paintbrush to get them clean. We want to always take care of the hairs, and rinse out the water bowl.